Every day we have a choice. You can either play safe and dip your toe in, or you can dive in the deep end and learn how to swim, discover how capable you are, and do things that you once thought were completely impossible. And this week, we're going deep, boss.
What is a growth mindset? Well, let's first start with what a fixed mindset is. So a fixed mindset is basically where you believe that your basic traits, like your intelligence or your talent, are fixed. They just are what they are. Whereas a growth mindset is basically the polar opposite. A growth mindset, according to the psychologist who actually coined the term, Carol Dweck, is a mindset where people believe that most of their basic abilities, i.e. talent or intelligence, can be developed through dedication and hard work. In order to build my business to where it's at now, I've had to seriously harvest and develop a growth mindset. Otherwise, you just kind of stay stuck and you have this fear of growing any bigger, and it really paralyzes you into a small place. If you look at any professional athlete, or if you look at any superstar celebrity or CEO or a leader of any kind, they have a growth mindset. So this is really a must-have quality if you're going to grow in any capacity in your life. So how have I developed my growth mindset? Well, I've learned a lot over the last couple of years, and I wanted to share you the top 5 methods that I've used to develop a growth mindset to continue to grow. If you're excited about this, which I really am because I love talking about this stuff, hit that like button below and let's dive in, pun intended. With number 1, it's all about identifying and rewriting your story. So say you're one of those people who goes into a party and you're thinking in your head, well, I'm just shy. I'm not gonna be able to talk to anybody. I'm not gonna feel comfortable in conversations. Even for me, someone who's very outgoing, I still am somewhat of an introvert. And I do sometimes find going to big events really daunting and really overwhelming. So part of what I've learned is that a lot of the things that we believe about ourselves are stories that we've bought into over our entire lives. So it's just about rewriting it and redefining it. This can also come from other people. If someone told you that you're a bad dancer when you were in high school, you're gonna believe that for the rest of your life. But here's the thing, if you have a growth mindset, you know that you can start practicing on a daily basis. You can go take a dance class, you can figure it out, and you can rewire your brain to believe that no, you're actually a great dancer. You just have to develop those skills. At this point in your life, it's your turn to redefine and rewrite that story. That's how this begins. You have to figure out what is actually true and what is a story that you've been telling yourself, and then make that story something that you want to evolve and grow into. Method number 2 is visualization, because I firmly believe if you can think it, it can happen. And if you look at any of the greatest inventors in the world, or really an entrepreneur, because you are an inventor at the end of the day, everything starts up here. So I read this really great book. It's called Mind Hacking. Highly, 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 highly recommend it. So there was an exercise in here that made so much more sense to me. And I want you to think about this as I read out some of the things that you can be doing. So in the book, the exercise looks like this. Try to picture your best possible future. So where will you live? What will you do for work, for fun? Will you have a partner? What kind of friends will you have? How much money will you have? What will your mind look like? Just close your eyes, sit for 5 minutes, think about this, and then write it down. So just have fun, experiment, answer those questions. And I would love for you to tell me in the comments below where you live in this visualization. Say it's 5 or 10 years out, where are you living? Number 3 is curate your surroundings. What I mean by this is you have to be so careful about what you consume and who you surround yourself with if you really want to grow. We all have those friends, maybe from high school, who talk about the same things that you talked about in high school and who only talk about the past. Well, that's going to keep you there. There's nothing wrong with having friends like that, but you also want to make sure that the majority of your time is spent with people who think bigger and are doing things way beyond you, because that changes your reality. Once I started surrounding myself with fellow entrepreneurs who were way far and beyond me, and taking them for lunch, taking them for coffee, becoming friends with them, building relationships, I looked at what they were doing and what their lives looked like, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's possible. It's real, it's tangible. That saying of you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, it's very true. I think I butchered the saying, but it's true. Noises, distractions, making sure you block those out. The news even. If you're highly, highly sensitive and you wake up every morning and you watch the news and there's something awful, maybe that's not the right time for you to consume that information. So being cautious of how you actually consume content on a daily basis. Oprah actually was saying in a recent interview that whenever she goes to a new city and she's picked up in a limo, one of her rules is that the radio is turned off. So she doesn't go to a new city and immediately is inundated with bad news. And she'll choose the time of when she actually wants to see or hear what's going on in the world. We're often forced messaging that is status quo to keep us small. So if you can curate your surroundings by choosing the right books to read and people to surround yourself with and experiences to have and noises to take in and stories to be told, it changes everything. So 4 is say no to say yes. And what I mean by that is stop doing things out of fear of being disliked or disappointing someone. Start doing things from a place of, how do I feel about this? One of the biggest factors for me growing was actually starting to say no, which might sound weird because you'd think that you have to say yes to everything, but no, there's a lot of experiences that don't serve you. And as you grow, and as a former people pleaser, the more opportunities come your way, the more people are asking you for things, and the more you go, I should be saying yes to this, I have to say yes to this or else I'm gonna become irrelevant. But it's actually better to say no a little more as you grow because it makes you more in demand and it makes it more of a quality experience when people actually do get to see you and interact with you, and you can be more present because you're not burnt the F out from being at everything and saying yes to everything. If you haven't seen Jay-Z and Beyonce's recent video, there's actually a line in there from Jay-Z that hit home so hard for me where he says, I said no to the Super Bowl. You need me, I don't need you. In the beginning, totally get it. You have to say yes to a lot of things. You have to get out there, you have to grind, you have to hustle. But as you grow and as you continue to develop your growth mindset, saying no is gonna be one of the biggest factors to your continued growth, and only saying yes to things that really, really matter to you. Now, number 5 is so vital. And the first time I tried to do this, it was painful. So give yourself grace if this is a really painful process for you. But number 5 is the proud list. So I was really used to writing in my gratitude journal every night for everything I'm grateful for, and I still do that. But I've added on something called the proud list because it reminds me of how far I've come on a daily basis and how much I have to be proud of and how much further I can go because I've already accomplished so much. So every night, writing 5 to 10 things that you're proud of yourself for. It could be as simple as, I'm proud of you for having that hard conversation with one of your team members, or I'm proud of you for sending that courageous email. Whatever it is, remind yourself to take pride in what you're doing, because too often we're comparing ourselves to everybody else. We're trying to keep up with the Joneses. We don't look at ourselves and go, you're doing all right. And you are.
So next time you find yourself in the deep end, remember, you're capable of so much more than you think you are. It's not just dipping your toe in or even diving in. The next thing you know, you'll be doing cannonballs and mastering things that you once thought were impossible. Hit that like button if you're ready to do things that you once thought were impossible. And this video motivated you to do so. Plus, make sure you just subscribe to the Sunny Show podcast because we have so many episodes over there with experts on setting up your mindset for success. The link is below to subscribe. Plus, can't forget about Boss Club. If you enjoyed this video today, comment with a thoughtful comment and you could get a shout out in one of my next videos. Just like this week's winner, a beautiful Horizon, who said, as a homeschool mom with YouTube as a side hustle and community outlet, I really appreciate all the time hacks and productivity tips. Thanks for always bringing your A game and helping us out. I love what I'm building during nap time and bedtime. Kudos to you. So just comment below with the hashtag Boss Club, and you could win a shout out in one of my next videos. Plus, subscribe for new videos every single Tuesday. Next week, I'm talking all about the 8 habits that stunt your success, and they might just surprise you. So I will see you then. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this as much as we enjoyed making it. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.